Rory Murphy, you're Managing Director of Ashford Castle. Tell me a little bit about the place.
Well, Ashford Castle is a very ancient castle in many ways. You have that portion over there was built in the 13th century by the de Burgos. And during that time, for information, there were a lot of battles fought on the ground here between the Tuatha De Danann and the Firbolgs, ending up in some mile away in the Battle of Moytura for possession of the castle and its grounds, and in fact the whole of Connacht. And then the next portion of the castle was built was in 1715 by the Ormorn Brans, which is the centre part of the castle there, built in the style of a French shooting chateau. And then some 100 years later, Sir Benjamin Lee Guinness of the famous Blackstuff came along, and he, together with his son Lord Ortolan, connected up the French shooting chateau area together with the old part. And they, at that time, also did a marvellous job on the grounds. There were 22,000 acres of an estate. And they set about developing the gardens here and all the beautiful surroundings that exist today, all the landscaping, etc. The castle down through the years has hosted many fine statesmen and a lot of royalty, and it's a very famous place.
Well, it is a stunning location, Rory, here on the edge of the Corrib Lake. It's just perfect, and especially with the sun shining on us here. What people would like to know, Rory, I think, is who stays here? Who are they? What famous people? Can you name names?
I should have brought my list with me. I mean, it's so long, really. And I suppose the most outstanding people, the most outstanding was Ronald Reagan, and that was a really exciting time. And prior to that, we had the Prince of Wales going back to 1905, later to become King George V. He was a guest of Lord Ortolan and came over here to shoot. We also, of course, had the Duke and Duchess of Luxembourg, and we had the Prince and Princess of Denmark, and we had the Prince and Princess of Saudi Arabia, we had the Prince and Princess of Monaco, and I suppose of more recent times we had the President of Germany. We have had many EEC conferences, Lord Plum, Jacques Delors, you name it. With regard to celebrities, well, there were a number of films made here on the grounds, and of course not least The Quiet Man. That has really made Ashford Castle. That was set in 1951. And since then we had the Purple Taxi with Fred Astaire and Charlotte Rampling. That was a very exciting time too. And just 2 winters ago we had Remington Steele, who did 2 episodes of their film thing here. That was another exciting time. With regard to film stars, yes, we have had many of them, from James Mason to Sean Connery to, well, you name it, I can't think of them offhand. Rod Taylor, people that stand out in my memory as characters. I remember Rod Taylor was something really special. He liked to have a drink in the bar and would sing a song and stay up all night and present himself in such great condition the next morning. I was often wondering as to how one can do that kind of, whether through practice or maybe you're born that way.
Well, it's such a magnificent place, and it is very exclusive, and everything here is perfection of a very high standard. The staff are beautifully trained, they're beautifully finished, they're young professional people, and everything is right. What facilities are you offering around? What can people do during the day here?
Well, there's a lot to do, but as you mentioned, our staff, I should give great compliment to them, because Ashford won the Most Outstanding Hotel of the Year award in 1975. It was the first Irish hotel ever to win that award, and last year, of course, it won the Top Irish Hotel Award. It was chosen also by Lifestyles and the Rich and Famous as the 9th greatest in the world. It was also chosen as one of the last palaces in the world by André Goya, the very famous French writer. What can one do? Well, there's so much to do. We have our own 9-hole golf course here in the grounds, which is private to the guests. We have horse riding, we have our own horses, and we also have gentlemen who's well trained to take people out. We have pony trekking, we have tennis courts, we have jaunting cars, we have a horse and trap that was used in the making of the Quiet Man. These are all for trips around the ground. We have fishing when one is allowed to fish. We have our own cruiser, which one go on the lake 2 or 3 times every day. That has got a bar on board, by the way, and one stops off at Inchigill and has maybe a picnic there, or whatever. So there's plenty to do, really. We have a marvellous shoot in the winter time. We release some 10,000 pheasants. We have a staff of 12 months of the year just looking after the shoot alone. And this is becoming a very, very big part of Ashford Castle's image internationally. We were very famous as a hotel internationally before, but the shoot now is an added concept to that.
Well, when I was driving in here last night, there was a tame pheasant on the driveway. It was such a beautiful sight. It was so peaceful and so lovely. And the fish are, the fish jump just there.
I have him specially trained.
On cue. In this programme we're talking about prices and what different ends of the market. What are your charges here, your rates?
Well, our rates are very cheap, really, for what you're getting. You know, and Irish people have a peculiar view of Ashford and Dromoland and places like it, and that they must be very expensive. But one can stay for as cheap as £56 bed and breakfast, and up to, for the presidential suite per person, £115. And I don't think that's too severe, not standing up for Ashford Castle alone, but Irish hotel business generally. When one can go to London and pay £120 a night for a single room in right the middle of the city. And look what you've got here.
Yes, you have everything here, really. Do Irish people stay?
Oh, yes, indeed. They amount to totally 22% of our business in the nationality mix. That is, we get, as you can imagine, all nationalities, predominantly American. But they are fortunate from the point of view of dining. A lot of people nowadays we find are concentrating in the culinary arts more. And we are fortunate here in that we have two kitchens here. We have an international kitchen run by Dennis Lennon, head chef. And then we have a French kitchen that is controlled by Michel Flan, the very famous French chef. And we are very fortunate to have him here. He loves it here, and long may he stay.
Indeed, and long may you stay, Rory. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kathleen.